Hi everybody and welcome back to Andrea Fontana Beauty. I'm changing things up today. We're gonna actually be talking about some skincare. I know I've been doing a lot of makeup videos recently and I've been having a lot of fun filming those. Don't worry, I filmed this look earlier. It should already be out by now. If it is, I'll have it linked below. But today we're actually going to talk about something that was requested over on my Instagram, and that's for me to talk about skincare and how it relates to wearing masks. So depending on where you are and what you do, how often you go out, you might be wearing masks every single day, all day long, once in a while. Obviously, it's gonna be different for everybody. It's gonna totally depend on your skin type, what you specifically need. If you have specific questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me in the comments below, or in an email or a DM. I'm happy to help with that. I've been getting a lot of questions recently, which obviously is what spurred this video. So I kind of thought through all the different questions that I've been asked pretty much since it started to get cooler when it comes to wearing a mask, and I wanted to share my top 9 tips on things that you can be doing, everybody can be doing, to make sure that their skin is not negatively affected by wearing a mask. Obviously, wearing a mask is very important and something that we just can't avoid right now. So I hope that these tips can help you make sure that your skin is doing its best. Obviously, we all have issues that can be completely different and are unique to us, but know that you are not the only one who's experiencing changes due to wearing a mask. If you are, if you're not, lucky you. But I myself am experiencing a lot of different changes since I'm wearing a mask anytime I go out of the house. So let's get started with my different recommendations. Here are my top 9 tips for helping your skin while wearing a mask in the winter. My first one might seem pretty obvious, but I know that a lot of people don't necessarily wear a reusable one. So my first tip is to make sure that if you are wearing reusable face masks, that you are washing them every single time you're wearing them. It's what you should be doing anyways, regardless of your skin, but it's really important because whether you wear makeup, wear SPF, put on different facial products, every time you put a face mask on, it's touching all of those products that are on your face, whatever you happen to be wearing that day. And it's really important to make sure that you are then not putting a mask that has products already on it back onto your face. So for me personally, I have a basket by my front door of a bunch of clean face masks because I like the reusable ones. And I will simply, when a mask is dirty and I've used it, so when I'm done using it for the day, I will throw it in my laundry hamper and then I'll just grab a new one from that basket by my front door anytime I need to leave the house or wear one for whatever reason, whether I have a client or something. So it's very, very important to wash them. So I had to make sure that we started with that. I know some people try, if they're not wearing makeup or they think that they didn't wear it for long enough, that they don't need to wash it, but it's really easy to transfer bacteria, and the last thing we want to do is clog pores. We want to do everything we can to make sure that everything is staying nice and clean and that we're not spreading any bacteria, especially for those of you who are prone to acne. So it's really important that we're washing our masks. So this next one is actually a little broad, but it's really important when it comes to your skin. And that's at the first sign of sensitivity, you need to pay attention. There's so many different things that can happen from wearing a mask and a lot of different conditions that can occur. So it's really important that if your skin is showing us some sort of inflammation or sensitivity, that you pay attention to it. Obviously, something is happening that your skin's not liking, and you need to make sure that you're doing everything in your power to help it heal and to help it not be inflamed. Now, the biggest thing that I've actually noticed since wearing masks in the winter is I have a lot of people that have been coming to me and sending me pictures of perioral or periorbital dermatitis. Perioral means that it's around the mouth, and periorbital means that it's around the orbital bone, so around the eyes, can be underneath the eyes, even on the eyelids. Basically, this is, there's not one direct reason that this is happening, and feel free to do your own research if you want to learn more about this, if you think that this could be something that you are suffering from. Basically, can look a little bit like acne or even eczema, but essentially it's redness that seems dry, flaky, sometimes there's bumps, and it's always in surrounding your mouth or your eyes. It can be one or the other, or even both if you're unlucky like that. I'm so sorry if you're suffering from this, but I've had many people reach out to me and say, hey, I can't get this thing to go away. Now, don't worry. It's very common, so it's not something to be really concerned about, but you want to make sure that you're listening to your body and your skin if you are exhibiting signs of it. This is just the example that I'm using for right now because it's probably the one that I've seen the most when it comes to wearing masks. And honestly, I think that has a lot to do with the fact that by wearing a mask, we are trapping some of the bacteria when we're talking and we're opening our mouth and we're breathing. So basically what happens is because the areas around our mouth and our eyes are wet, warm, and they can be perfect breeding grounds for bacteria, which is essentially what dermatitis is. It's an inflammation within the dermis. So you want to make sure that if you are experiencing perioral or periorbital dermatitis, that you want to take a look at your products. First of all, it could be caused for hormonal reasons. I have a friend who just had a baby, and I think that hers might be caused for that reason. You want to make sure that you're not having a reaction to any products. So I have a friend who I think is having a reaction to an SPF, and that's what's causing hers. Sometimes it can happen for a multitude of reasons. If you're using a toothpaste that has fluoride or SLS, which is sodium lauryl sulfate, or one of the variations of it, it can disrupt the flora or the healthy bacteria that's in your mouth, and then the bacteria can kind of like thrive. There's lots of different reasons as to why you could have PD, but if you are somebody who thinks that you might be suffering from it, don't be concerned. Just get it checked out. Go see a doctor, a dermatologist, if it's something that is prolonging. I would say the biggest thing to make sure that you are doing if you are suffering from PD is to take a look at the ingredients that you're using. So sometimes in the winter, we like to use products that end up being very occlusive because a lot of heavier moisturizers are worried about water loss. If a product is occlusive, this just means that it creates a barrier on the surface of the skin that is trying to reduce water loss. So ingredients like petroleum, petrolatum, mineral oils, things that we don't want in our skincare, those are designed to sit on the surface, trap any moisture from being lost from your skin, but at the same time, it's not hydrating your skin. The issue with using products that have a lot of occlusive ingredients is that if you are suffering from PD and you're putting one of these products on it, then you can be creating this barrier that's then trapping the bacteria and perpetuating the issue, which we obviously don't want to do. So I know that if something is stinging and it's burning, which PD often does, it can seem intuitive to put on a moisturizer that's very thick, very heavy to nourish the skin, but we want to make sure that we're using the right kind. I recommend jojoba oil, but it's one of those things that's just going to take time. So if you think that it's being caused by your toothpaste, you could swap out your toothpaste, you could swap out some of your products, and just make sure that you're using things that aren't trapping any of that bacteria around your mouth or on your eyes. This is also a really good reason why we want to make sure that if we try new products, we're only trying one new product at a time, so that if there is an issue, we can make sure that we know exactly which product it is and we can get rid of it. My third tip is to make sure that you're wearing your SPF daily. It's really important to make sure that you are protecting your skin from the sun, especially if you are running outside or you're doing some form of activity where I know it's cold, but the sun still can come out and it can still harm your skin. So you definitely want to make sure that you are wearing SPF all over, especially because we don't want any damage to happen just in the areas that are exposed and, like, say, not in the mouth, because it's covered with a mask. So always make sure you're wearing your SPF so that your entire face is protected. My fourth tip is gonna be to wash your face 2 times a day. Now, there's obviously a whole bunch of different cleansers that you can use for this. I know that most of you probably do wash your face 2 times a day, but it can be really easy, especially when we're not wearing a lot of makeup, to kind of get lazy, especially in the morning. So my recommendation, of course, is to make sure that you are cleansing morning and nighttime. You choose something that is best for your specific skin type, and to make sure that, especially in the winter, we're not drying ourselves out. But it's really important that we're cleaning our skin to make sure that we're not contributing to any acne or any other issues that could happen because of wearing the mask. My 5th tip is to really learn the difference between hydration and moisturization. These are 2 terms that you should know regardless of the time of year or if you're wearing a mask, but in case you don't, hydration refers to the amount of water that's in your skin. So any skin type can be dehydrated. Oily, dry, any kind can be dehydrated. Water is obviously really important for our bodies, and we want to make sure that you are hydrated enough. So when you see a moisturizer that has the words hydrating in it, or water loss, or if it has hyaluronic acid, these are great things because they will help us to retain water in the skin. When we're referring to moisturizing, on the other hand, we're actually referring more towards oily versus dry. Moisture refers more towards the amount of oil that is in your skin. So if you have a lot of oil, then you're obviously considered oily. If you have not as much oil, then you are considered dry. It's really important in the winter, especially, to know the difference between hydration and moisturization, because they obviously can do different things for the skin, and based on your specific skin type, you may need a different product than somebody else. So it's really important for you to learn the difference between those two and to know what to look for when it comes to products so that you can treat your skin how you need to. My 6th tip for making sure that we're taking good care of our skin in the winter while wearing masks is to make sure that you have a balm that agrees with your skin that you can use in case your skin ever gets irritated. Now, when I say irritated, I mean more like surface friction. I've had a few people reach out that have had some irritation along the areas where they're wearing a mask, if there's somebody who wears one a lot. And my recommendation is to make sure that you have a good hydrating balm. So not necessarily super oily unless your skin needs that. My personal favorite, because I do get a little dry in the winter, is the Welleda Skin Food. They have a ultra rich original formula and then a light formula as well. Either one works great. There's no petroleum, there's no mineral oils. I know we talked about the occlusiveness earlier. It's really great to apply a little bit in the areas where you are tending to get a little bit of friction. It can help reduce some of the friction. So if your skin's getting a little irritated because your mask is rubbing, then having a balm like that can be really helpful to just kind of protect and prevent in those areas. My 7th tip is to be consistent and patient. Unfortunately, with a lot of different skin conditions and sometimes even dealing with your skin type, it can take some time to see results. Skincare is not something that you can use once or twice and expect to see all the results. So it's really important that if it's something like a cleanser or a toner or a treatment, that you're doing it every single day or whatever is needed for that specific product. Make sure that you're being consistent with it, and then also be patient. I know it's really hard, especially when we're dealing with skin conditions that we're not used to seeing, to get frustrated and to want them to be cured in one day. Trust me, I've been there. It's really frustrating, especially I personally have had a lot of maskne that's popped up anytime that I had a wedding and I needed to wear a full face of makeup and also wear the mask for 8 hours. I was experiencing a lot of maskne. So I know that it's really hard to be patient because you want it to be over with, but I promise you that if you put the time and the effort into it and you're patient and consistent, it will get better. Another one of my tips is to make sure that you have a really good lip balm. I personally really like the Bite Agave Lip Mask and then also the Fresh Rose lip moisturizer. I'll have both of those linked down below, but those are my 2 favorite. I keep the Fresh one in my purse and the Bite lip mask by my bed, and I think it's really good to have a really good, again, non-petroleum based lip balm in your purse or with you whenever you have to wear a mask. because it's really good to coat and moisturize your lips before you leave the house, especially in the winter. Lips can get really chapped, but you're somewhere where you don't want to touch your mouth. Obviously, like all we're hearing is don't touch your face, don't touch your face. So it's really important that you moisturize with a really good lip mask or a really good lip balm before you leave the house. Put your mask on and then you're good. And then later on, once you have a chance to wash your hands or sanitize your hands, you can apply more. It's not like you can just be at the grocery store putting on your chapstick. At least I wouldn't recommend that. So it's really important that you think about these things and do them before you leave the house so that you don't forget about it and then end up with crazy dry and chapped lips in the winter. Okay, my last recommendation is gonna be to make sure that you are using a chemical exfoliant for your skin type. Personally, I really like glycolic acid. That's my favorite. I like to use it in the form of a glycolic toner. So I use mine every single night. The reason that it's really important to make sure that you're chemically exfoliating, especially in the winter, is because you want your hydrating and moisturizing products to work. You want to be hydrated. You want your skin to be happy. So in order to do this, we want to make sure we don't have a bunch of dead skin cells sitting on the surface that are creating texture and preventing your products from absorbing into your skin. So I like to do this by doing a daily, nightly glycolic acid toner. I'll link some of my favorite ones below. You can try lactic. You can, if you're super oily, you can try salicylic. It's totally up to you. Obviously, if you have questions, let me know. But I think it's really important to make sure that we are doing a slight chemical exfoliation every single day to make sure that we are being gentle, but that we're really increasing and promoting hydration and helping it. We want to make sure that the products that we're putting on are actually going to work for us and not just sitting on the surface. I like glycolic acid because it's great even for sensitive skin, but it really does a good job. It can be paired with lactic acid. There's a lot of different, obviously it's different for everybody. So if you've never used it before, you want to make sure that you start slowly. Now, just a disclaimer when it comes to chemical exfoliation, if it's something that you've never used before in your routine, or if you're somebody who is just really sensitive, you want to make sure that you slowly transition into using products like this. Not that they're going to damage your skin, but you want to be gentle. The last thing we want to do is disrupt our acid barrier in our skin. We want to make sure that we're not irritating and inflaming and that we're doing things gently. I would recommend, depending on the product, you want to start a couple times a week and slowly work your way up to doing it every single day. All right, so those are my top tips. Like I said, this is going to be different for everybody, but I tried to kind of pull together a lot of the questions that I've been getting recently from a lot of clients and friends of what they can be doing to make sure that their skin is at their best in the winter while wearing a mask. I hope you're staying healthy and happy this holiday season, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.